Hi, this is, Gregory Cudeecakes, and, I'm just about ready to lay down and hit the sack here in a second. It's just about ready. Time for bed. One last video for today. As you can see, I'm just laying down here on my bed. One last video for today. This is, part of the series for, In Like a Lion and Out Like a Lamb, the Jimmy Miller years, documenting the classic protein mid-period of the history of the Rolling Stones, and for that period of time for the Rolling Stones, when many people argue that it was their probably one of their most productive periods. Certainly some of the most classic riffs and songs came out of that period. It's really important. Oh, I forgot. We have to do a Zippo check before we get started. Okay, Zippo check. Woo-wee, that's burning good. Nowhere near burned out yet. Nowhere near empty yet. Very important. And I don't know if anyone's brought this up. Certainly not in any videos I've watched or anything that I've read. I don't think anyone's brought this point up. But it's very important to point out is that the mid-period started, okay, alright, suddenly you see, I would like to dedicate this video really to Keith Richards, because he was one of the driving forces, if not the driving forces, behind the creation of the Stones music, especially during this period of time. And Keith, during the mid-period and during the beginning of the mid-period, is surrounded with people he loves and loves working with, okay? It's very important to sort of point out, I think, when you're discussing the mid-period. Okay, number one, he's got his writing partner, Mick Jagger. Okay, that's a constant through this whole thing. That's actually a constant pretty much through the whole Rolling Stones history. But he's got that. Suddenly, 1967, he's got Anita. Then 1968, he's got he's got Graham Parsons. Suddenly, he's working with Jimmy Miller as the producer, who also played drums. And suddenly, he's working with and surrounded by this great saxophone player, Bobby Keys, who also has the exact same birthday as Keith Richards. So he's got this soul brother. He's got this soul brother in Graham Parsons. He's got this kind of soul sister, fall in love relationship, romantic relationship with Anita Pallenberg. He's got this other friend who's got the same birthday as his, Bobby Keys. They're all great, have this great connection, right? Okay? Suddenly, 1967, 1968, that all comes together, and he's surrounded by these people. He's also got a new guitarist to work with starting in 1967. They were not so close, but he's got this person that he starts working with. You know, the second guitar player for the Rolling Stones. And this, throughout the mid-period, is a constant. It's largely a constant thread. He's surrounded by all these people. And what we see in 1973 is we see, to some extent, we see these people he's not working with anymore. Okay? It's at the end of that mid-period that you see Graham Parsons passes away. Him and Mick are not as close anymore. I think you could argue him and Anita. Anita has changed a bit. They're not as close anymore. Suddenly, like I said before, his soul brother Graham Parsons passes away. All of a sudden, they're not going to be working with Jimmy Miller anymore. What does that leave? That leaves Bobby Keys, but Bobby Keys is just a saxophone player. So Keith is sort of lost. You know, this is really an important point. At the end of that mid-period in their music and history, Keith has sort of lost. He's sort of lost everyone around him. It's not surprising that the music might, you know, that period was over. It's not surprising that after Angie and after Goat's Head Soup that there was this huge change. That's the end of that period. You see, you know, and the second big U.S. tour has finished. They were very hot after that in '73. On the next tour going into Europe, they were very hot. But that was after that. That was like an end of an era. He's lost Graham Parsons, not as close with Mick, not as close with Anita. He's lost Jimmy Miller to work with. And then at the very end, kind of the icing on the cake, he loses the guitar player that he was working with when Mick Taylor just up and leaves them, you know? So it's not surprising that Keith went into the Wick for a month and things changed and that's the end of that period. I don't know if anyone's brought this up before, but the people that were surrounding Keith are just not there anymore, really. Except for maybe perhaps Bobby Keys, but that's just a saxophone player and they, you know. Anyway, that's all for tonight. I hope you enjoy it. Goodbye, everyone. This is Gregory Cudeecakes saying goodbye and good night.